Hey, Ron.
Ronnie, my boy.
Hey Ron, alright, we're ready to go.
Okay.
Firing all cylinders.
Now, the one thing we noticed was the similarities, obviously, between the Sega CD version and the arcade, on the basis that, look, we could play pretty much all the areas, including the final boss, with 2-player characters. How did you find that lines up, say, as opposed to the SNES version?
I thought it was pretty lame that the SNES version did not have 2-player simultaneous capabilities. I don't know why Capcom included that in the Sega CD version and not in the SNES version. I mean, I don't really see an excuse for that.
I'd read that the one review that I'd read in particular regarded as the fact that the NES version wasn't capable of having the 2 players and the full actual arcade version. Yet previous conversations we've had, you've mentioned that there's been similar games have had 2-player mode in them. Look, here's one to throw at you too. The soundtrack on the NES version, you've got to admit, it's pretty lame, mate, compared to what you get on the Sega CD.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Capcom has been real good at making awesome video game music. I mean, look at the Mega Man series, look at Street Fighter series, and their other games. I'm sure they have great music as well. I mean, Capcom is real good in that department. But for the Final Fight series, I don't know why the music just seems so terrible in that version. I mean, especially the train level.
Yeah.
It wasn't helpful. Yeah.
It's just not good.
It was woeful, to put it quite bluntly.
I think they would have probably used the excuse that the cartridge didn't have as much capacity as, of course, the CD, and that would be their prime excuse. But as you said, Final Fight 2, you know, you did have the 2-player. You probably had the same arcade music, you know.
And Streets of Rage and stuff like that too, as well.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 1 had multiplayer simultaneous play. You know, why couldn't Final Fight? That is a bit of a mystery.
Yeah. And there's NES music that has much better music than Final Fight, so there's no excuse about Sega CD has the capabilities of having better music than SNES.
Yeah, no, true. And with your version on the NES, did you find that they'd changed some of the graphics of the players and even changed player names? Like Poison and Roxy on the arcade version, and later...
yeah, they had different names on the Super Nintendo, and
Billy
they
and
didn't
Sid.
even look the same.
They didn't look the same.
They didn't even look the same.
No, they didn't even look the same. Or the only way you can tell it was them is because they had handcuffs still hanging out of their pockets.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at Poison and Ivy as well.
Roxy.
Roxy, sorry.
Yeah.
Poison and Ivy. They had handcuffs as well, and that was the similarity. The only way you could draw the parallel.
Did you have Poison and Roxy, or did they change it to Billy and Sid on the NES version?
You know what? I can't really answer that. I'm not that familiar with the SNES version like Venom is. And as you can see, Venom's not here. He had a wrestling match, so he had to leave.
Right.
So I don't. I really don't know about that. Venom would know about that if he was here.
He had to choose some pellets as
I
well.
think he was talking about that during the commentary. I think he had mentioned some of the characters were changed. Like one was a woman, and then they had changed it to a man. Or
he did mention
that. I think. I don't know why they did that. I mean, just
they apparently started out.
These are different.
They apparently started out as hookers, and then Capcom decided that, you know, in order to, you know, perhaps run away from the potential abuse they'd caught, they decided to turn them into transvestites, which, I mean, doesn't make it any more politically correct. And then on the SNES version, you know, they changed them into, well, boys, I suppose.
But really
they've made them sort of look like dykes in a way.
But Akira Yoshiда had always stated that they weren't actually ever street hookers, they were always transvestites. And the American arm of Capcom couldn't deal with that. That's why I know on their version, like on the American version, they insisted it was changed to Billy and Sid. And that was purely because of the fact that not only were they not women, they were transvestites. So I don't think, you know...
There's a Japanese, I think it's a Japanese version of Streets of Rage 3. There's this homosexual fighter. His name is Ash, and he runs around like this, coming after you. It's I think you know, in America, you know, they probably said, no, we're not going to allow that, or whatever. So there's a lot of different reasons why characters' names and stuff has changed in different countries or different versions of video games.
Another famous one, Ron, is with Poison. Her shirt was very high cut on the Japanese version, and you can see the bottom of her cleavage, opposed to the American and Mega Drive versions where the shirt was somewhat lowered down to her waist.
So they gave her longer shorts as well. Did you find in the Nintendo version the two big bosses, what was it, Damned and Thrasher? Now I know on the Sega version they were renamed. Was it Damned and Sodom? Sorry, it was Thrasher on the Sega version was Damned and Katana was Sodom on the Sega. Did they do that with the Nintendo as well?
Yeah, it was.
You know, I'm not really sure. As you see in our review, the farthest we got was what, stage 2 or 3?
Yeah,
where we fought Sodom?
that was where you died actually, man. That was actually at Katana.
I think you were taking on Katana when you ended.
He was in a Street Fighter game, yeah?
Yeah, and again, Venom knows much more about that than I do, but
Well, I mean, that's like that whole legend about Andor being an amalgamation of Andre. You know, Andre the Giant. I think, what was it, one of the and I think he had a whole clothing look like in one of the Street Fighters or something like that at one point. Yeah. Was it Street Fighter or Streets of Rage?
Yeah, I guess he's a spin-off of one of those characters, Final Fight for the Super Nintendo version. And then they decided to put him in Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and named him Hugo.
Hugo,
And as far as him being based off Andre the Giant, I think Venom had mentioned one of the person that created that character is kind of a tribute to Andre the Giant because he was a big fan of his, and he kind of made Hugo look like Andre the Giant. Then again, that might just be a rumor, I'm not sure. But it'd be a very interesting concept though, because that guy really looks similar to Andre the Giant, with the bushy hair and how big he is.
Yeah.
And they really exaggerated Hugo's size in SBC Chaos. I mean, my goodness, you see how big he was in that game?
Yeah.
But you see that you hear there's a lot of urban myth and legends. Considering I've even read an interview with Akira who stated that Andre was actually just a nickname of one of his friends, and it was just ironic, you know, coincidental that it happened to be the final character that looked like Andre the Giant. And they also mentioned other things like the names, you know, Poison, Roxy, Axel, Slash. Apparently there was some girl working in one of the departments at Capcom was heavily influenced by 80s rock music, and she came up with all the names. There just happened to be, you know, coincidence, you know, quote unquote coincidence that it all ended up that way. Which, you know, but let's be honest, mate, the Japanese are great at imitation.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Final Fight's origins for 1 minute before we round this up. Where do you think Final Fight started?
Well, what was its major influence? I mean, you know, considering same thing with that interview with Akira, what was the movie? Streets of Rage.
The Streets of Fire.
Streets of Fire. Yeah, apparently they got their original idea after that. There's a real 80s cheesy.
Rick Moranis film.
Yeah, Rick Moranis and William Dafoe was in it. You should look it up, mate. Streets of Fire. It was a film came out about 83, 84, and apparently their biggest influence for Final Fighter was that movie.
We're about to wrap it up there, Ronnie.
Okay.
Merry Christmas to you all there at home, from Strictly Sega, from behalf of all of us here.
Merry Christmas.
And thank you, Ron, for having us on.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yep.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Have a good Christmas, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Dude, where you been, man?
I'm back.
Well, you're too late now, dude. We're about to wrap it up.
Okay.
Idiot. All right, so there you go. That's it for this special Christmas edition of Low Budget Reviews. We'd like to thank all of you for supporting my channel and subscribing. I thank you very much for that. And Charlie, over there at Strictly Sega, thank you very much for doing this collaboration video with us. We really appreciate it. And you viewers, make sure to check out youtube.com/StrictlySega, Charlie's channel. For Venom 22, Archangel Zero, The Unknown, all of us here at Low Budget Reviews, we want to wish y'all Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Don't get too drunk. Be safe. And thank you for supporting us this far. So, God bless y'all, and y'all take care.
So a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good fight!